Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation bringing you guys a game between Evil Geniuses and Radical Online Extremists. RoX.KIS is going to be the matchup here, and we are going to be seeing this as the third and fourth place decider, deciding who's going to be taking those points away. Essentially, RoX being in this placement here already puts them in a very precarious position in the league as far as what's going on into the Premier Cup in just a couple weeks. Exactly what the placement is. I think it's still technically possible for them to get enough points here to have the chance to advance forward if they win the next cup, but still in a very, very difficult position. If they do not win this, it's going to be very, very hard to come back from. Evil Geniuses, on the other hand, they're kind of back and forth right now. They're technically second place, but only by 10 points, so there is still that possibility, although maybe slim, that if they do not perform well here and in the next cup, they could actually be in a very, very desperate position as far as trying to qualify for the Premier Cup itself. But anyways, yeah, both teams having a lot on the line here. We're going to be seeing who is the better in this best of one series here. Thank you guys so much for tuning on into the Premier League Season 5 Dataless Cup. I myself am Blaze, and here's my co-caster, Triumphant Man. What's going on?
Just to update on the scoreboards. RoX.KIS, no matter what they do here, they're screwed.
Okay.
Even if they score 30 points, Virtus.Pro are guaranteed 50 points for tonight because they can, at worst, they finish second place, which is 50 points. So that puts them at 150. If RoX.KIS win this match, that's 30. And if they win the Aegis Cup, that's 130. So they cannot make fourth spot, regardless. E.g., if they finish third tonight, that puts them on 220, and that pretty much guarantees them a spot. I don't think anybody else can overtake them if that happens. The question is going to come down, the real question is Virtus.Pro versus Fnatic. That's going to be the big fight. Yeah. Virtus.Pro, Fnatic, and possibly Quantic. That's going to be the huge fight for fourth spot. So we'll see how that one turns out. Quantic, of course, getting knocked out early tonight. Absolutely. But ban-wise, I mean, this game right now, Darkseer being opened up as the first ban by RoX.KIS, followed by a Wisp from EG, so some fairly stock standard bans. Darkseer, interesting, sort of in and out in terms of favoritism, getting the first ban sort of material. I think people are starting to remember that he's like, Vacuum is just such a huge force multiplier, and you cannot really, and the fact he's so flexible, I think it's just really beginning to irritate a lot of people once again. That said, I really think a couple of heroes, OD, there we go, OD being picked up. Like OD and Tree are two heroes that are definitely hitting the top of the ban pool lately, though.
Yeah, exactly. So, especially from RoX, they have such a dynamic draft themselves, but these are heroes that kind of screw them over, shut them down. In the lane, World Devourer is just one that can barely be bested by only a very, very slim few heroes. And along with that, the Darkseer is just so great in setting things up for their team. And he, of course, is a great offlaner as well. So, in general, it's just something that some teams are willing to deal with, but RoX will not put up with it at all. Either way, we're going to be seeing some interesting action here. Wisp and Batrider, as per usual, taken out by Evil Geniuses, but with RoX having the first pick, they're going to start off with an Alchemist.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is another hero. He's sort of, Alchemist has just been skirting that ban pool. Because if a team is going for, like, the carry first ban tends to go towards the Nags. People tend to be more worried about him. And Alchemist definitely hits hard. And of course, the Lothars with the Alchemist Bomb is a very irritating thing to fight against, but at the same time, Naeg's Bomb is just so powerful, so scary. He jumps out, he's rage, there's nothing you can do about it. If he gets on somebody with that, they're so dead. There's very little they can do to stop that. Especially if you initiate with stuff like Puck or Storm. It is so damn powerful. Rubik, though, EG opening up with a Rubik pick, looks like they're just going to try and grab up some of their core support and then ban the rest of it out.
Yeah, I think that's the best course of action. When you're going up against an Alchemist and you want to shut down his farm and you want to start off aggressive, most likely, the basic thing to do is to make sure that you have your foundational supports picked up. Now, RoX still have plenty of options. If maybe they want to grab up the Visage for themselves, they can hold the line and the tri line very, very nicely. And yeah, they're going to be in a good spot there. But it's not always guaranteed that you're going to be in 3 versus 1. Although it's really, really good to put pressure on the Alchemist, Keeper of the Light and Rubik are naturally very defensive supports. So if you wanted to go for something more oriented around just picking up a very greedy carry of your own, maybe a Resurgence of Faceless Void or something like that, you definitely have the means to do it. Either way, for right now, we do see Treant Protector picked up for the support to coincide with Alchemist. And we'll have to see if the Living Armor will give him and his team enough space to make it through the early game.
I mean, Alchemist's not necessarily going to be taking that trial and roll. I am a little bit worried that they pick up a Tree because Alchemist can't really sort of handle himself in the lane that easily. Does need a lot of, like, he needs some people to zone out for him, to do the zoning for him. And with Tree there, like, he doesn't bring that at all. So I almost think they might actually go screw it, put Alchemist mid, and then pick up something that can handle itself a little bit better. for the tri-lane, because I can only imagine they are a little bit worried about EG rolling with that, seeing as they have the rolling offensive with the Rubik as well as the Gibbet Light. But I really feel like if you grab up Nyx, have Tree, and then like a range carry who can look after themselves, like even something like dumb, like well, not so much dumb, but even if you see something like Mirana again, that's pretty irritating to have to play against.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, with Tree spending most of his time on the draw, it helps with in terms of levels, because Mirana, of course, with Leap, she can play more aggressively than a lot of other sort of carries, like semi-carries. She can CS from a good distance, or well, by CS I mean attempt to last hit with a crappy, really crappy projectile and crappy damage. But, you know, she can stay within range, get experience, and of course, she's a big threat. Once she gets the arrow up and running, you grab someone with a stun or something, that's a lot of trouble. That said, they're going to go with the Juggernaut. And that's I think that's more for push potential than kill potential than anything else there.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the Alchemist and Treant are naturally very, very tanky, so you're not just going to be Omni-slashing and insta-gibbing anybody. Of course, they do have to pick up some squishier supports later on in the draft, but for right now, the emphasis here is we can give you unlimited mana, the Juggernaut unlimited mana to spin and Healing Ward to its heart's content. Along with that, some Illuminate push to clear out the creep waves. They can batter down on the towers very, very early on, so that's something that we could see is pretty much just going for a defensive tri-lane that breaks down the laning phase very, very early on, and it might be to their greatest benefit. Because although Living Armor is going to be able to heal up towers, you can't do it in a burst sense. It's a very gradual type thing. And growing those towers back, it takes time that the Evil Genius is not going to let them have. If it goes for a defensive tri-lane, Rubik, Keeper Light, and Juggernaut, you are sure to see a tower drop down in the first 6 minutes of the game unless RoX makes a drastic rotation to try to actually keep it alive.
We'll see what they got in mind, but yeah, living that ward, of course, it's going to be really hard for them to get at the ward. And of course, it gives them so much extra health in those pushes. Very, very painful. That said, EG with their 4th pick. Now, I should also mention the Visage and the Weaver being banned as well. Anti-Mage looks like RoX.KIS they were really worried about those big sort of late game carries. They banned out the Anti-Mage, banned out the Cancel Lancer, and yet it's EG going for these really aggressive semi-carry. Like Dragonite there, Juggernaut. That's really good push potential there. Juggernaut helps sustain, Dragonite brings the damage, and of course they've got the big AoE from Keeper. They've got a bit of disable there as well. Queen of Pain's going to have to be careful. I mean, she jumps in, she's getting lifted, getting Dragon Tailed. That's not much you can do about that at all. Like, the speed at which Rubik can disable someone is really scary, and he only needs a couple of seconds, and if you drop him close to Dragonite too, I mean, it really just helps with the terms of range. Even if he doesn't have Dragon Form up, he can get to them that way.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest, I don't really appreciate too much the Anti-Mage ban. They already had a Treant, which locks down his Blink, the Alchemist, whose concoction falls through Blink, and Shadow Demon, who is a counter innately. So, although the Anti-Mage is frustrating to deal with, I really would have preferred to see like a Lone Druid or a Nature's Prophet ban, or even the Dragonite as we're seeing here. It's just like, it seems to be a completely different emphasis. Now, we do see the Lone Druid actually being banned out by Evil Geniuses themselves, kind of showing that they are going to be looking at a different strategy, maybe an aggressive try, maybe they just don't want to put that much emphasis on bear push, or, I don't know. I guess they need more team fight, plain and simple. That's the only thing that I can think of is why you wouldn't want a Lone Druid, because with your Healing Ward already up and available and your Recall, you can maneuver around really, really well with Lone Druid and add to your push. I think it would have been a great hero for their lineup, and they did have the first pick in this phase, but at the same time, they don't have as much kill potential with a Lone Druid. He kind of takes a while to get items that are scary as far as trying to lock people down. So instead they wanted Orchid, they go for the Clinks, and we'll see how it pays off.
I like the Clinks. Again, he's pretty decent for pushing. Searing Arrows affects towers. I don't think they really could have used the Lone Druid in their lineup that easily, but I do appreciate the ban against it. Mostly because with the Treant there, if you don't really like, their push isn't huge. It's not like getting like it's not like this kind of thing you can do. Enchantress comes in with 2 creeps at like sort of the 3-minute mark, and you just wreck a whole bunch of towers together. They don't have that kind of push. It's fairly slow, it's fairly sustained, and it's mostly based in DK, and they need time to get that rolling. So they're looking for sort of the 25-30 minute mark to really start getting their pushes rolling. The problem is, by the 25 to 30 minute mark, if Lone Druid gets off to a good start and they don't hunt him down, of course there's no pressure on him, he gets a Radiance, and suddenly you're trying to push against a bear that has a Radiance, and that's painful, and it's really an unnecessary complication. So I can appreciate it as a last ban for them.
Yeah. So in general, what I'm looking at here, just seeing the pick up Fear on Clinks, you kind of looking back at the ban, seeing the Phantom Lancer, seeing the Anti-Mage taken out, it's kind of banning out heroes that Fear loves to play. but with them having already selected the Alchemist for themselves, and RoX.KIS generally securing a very, very solid carry setup for themselves, it kind of forced EG to switch over their mindset to early push, early gank. And I think it's still going to be very, very good for Evil Geniuses, but it might not have been the game that they intended to play going on into it. Because, yeah, there's still going to be some good early game potential from the Alchemist stun, from when Queen of Pain hits her stride at level 7, level 8, and with Treant once he does finally get that ultimate online. So it'll be pretty interesting. It's definitely not the draft I think Evil Geniuses were looking for, but certainly still one that will fit the circumstances.
I think it's a good. I don't mind the draft at all. I think EG's draft works quite well. Queen of Pain, obviously they picked up Nakes last. They're hoping for some big infest bombs for Queen of Pain. They're gonna have to be careful. I mean, you jump in against a Rubik in that's A, dangerous, and B, you jump in ahead of your team. They don't have a whole bunch of minions to bring with them. You're eating a big Omni Slash. If Juggernaut gets his quick level 11, if Demon gets that level 11 up and running, and you try and jump in again, 2 heroes eating Omni Slash, that's gonna you're gonna fall apart really quickly, especially since Lifestealer, not a ton of armor. In fact, he's pretty low in terms of armor department. Same for Queen of Pain, and of course, Omni Slash goes right through Rage. It doesn't do a damn thing to help him out there. But a quick smoke from RoX.KIS. Interesting choice here. Looks like they're actually going to try and meet EG. EG pushing down. I mean, they saw the lineup, and I think they figured that's an offensive try. Let's try and gank it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, we have seen offlane clinks in the past, but it's just so much more. Actually, a style that Russia really put forward is going and emphasizing that safe lane clinks, so you can get the Orchid at an amazing time. And when you get that really well-timed Orchid, you're good to go. But we do see the smoke being dispelled, just a little bit of movement in the river, and they're not actually able to pursue for a 5 versus 3 clash. So that's good for them. They still control the jungle and are going to try to make sure that this pull is up and available. But, of course, EG happy to stay alive and kicking before the try versus try breaks on down.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at this here. Demon, though, he's still got a ward. Oh, actually, no, sorry, that's Treant. Still got a ward on him there. See where he decides to seek that. Probably going to spot the rune. Yeah, there we go. Uses it to spot the rune. Spots Demon as well. Demon, just some fairly basic items there. But yeah, this is gonna hurt a fair bit. Just because, well, actually, no, it looks like they're going for dual lanes. Wait a minute. Where's North Star going? He's even got dust on him straight up.
I think RoX.KIS misjudged this pretty hardcore. Shadow Demon.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he has dust, so I mean, he's going to be able to put some pressure on Clinks, but they took them a while to actually respond. I don't know. They've switched it up 2-1-2, and this bottom lane is so vulnerable now. Like, Lifestealer can rage on out of spin, but although high HP on Tree and Protector, you can still close the distance because he only has 300 MS, and when you get that telekinesis into Illuminate spin, he is going to be dropped down very early. We're actually going to see that right here. This might be first blood. Immediately, even stopping to cast Living Armor is a waste of time here. He's going to get dropped down. Demon being handed the first blood. And yeah, if this was a tri lane, that probably could have gone differently, but just the amount of damage they can put out now that they're 3 versus 2, they're happy to just punish them for it.
You know, I mean, he could have just... Well, basically, I mean, it had the Shadow Demon there. You could just gone, you know what? You're charging up and Illuminate, let me just defensively disrupt, and there's all your damage gone. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, I guess, I don't know, maybe they'll watch Funnick completely destroy everybody with Clinks, then like, oh crap, we've got to stop this. I really disagree with this Shadow. I can appreciate him going up there a little bit later with the dust, like when there's an opportunity to gank him, but trying to level like this, I'm really not sure about this, especially since this leaves his tower so vulnerable. And the fact that it's going to be so hard for Tron to get farm. Like, they're going to be able to zone him so hard. Although, that said, it looks like they're actually rotating. So, no, this might actually work out for them because they've decided to rotate B-Diz. And I think EG is saying, you know what? We don't care if Lifestealer gets a bit of early farm. That's fine. Let's make sure we get our core items. Let's make sure we get that mech on Keeper.
Well, first things first, they've already gotten Demon a pretty good start. Demon starting off with his Boots of Speed. There's nothing that can lock him down this lane. A 200 range, open wounds, Leech Seed. No, there's no kill potential on Juggernaut. So, he's fine. He's going to get a few CS here and there. It might limit his creep kills, but he's not a hero that just has to get an item at a certain stage in the game. So instead, they're respawning their supports wherever the enemy supports are. In this case, they put one up top to go toe-to-toe with the Shadow Demon, and then they do some roaming with Bamboo at level 1 just to try to set up the other lanes. And as a result, now they get the regen rune on Jao. Even before his bottle's out, it's going to help him immensely.
Yeah, I honestly feel like they're probably, like, these supports rotating up here, there's not so much about helping the Clinks, although it's more about making sure Alchemist is having a harder time farm. I think he's probably the bigger issue than the Lifestealer. The fact, if they can prevent him from getting an early Shadow Blade, that'll be a much bigger blow if RoX.KIS don't have that kill potential in him. and just sudden initiation. Also, the other thing, of course, having access to tons of pools, not only will it slow them down, but if they can do that, getting a blink dagger or like some kind of item on Rubik and beat is just going to be a much, much bigger deal. See in the bottom lane, that Demon just going toe-to-toe with Keeper, just hacking away at him.
Yeah, it's actually interesting to see him go willfully going for those trades, but as long as Lifestealer is not close enough to actually do 2 auto attacks for 1, I guess it does make Tree a little bit antsy that he might be pushed into a range where he has to, where he could be spin down. So Demon moving in closer to level 5, that's when he's going to try to go for maybe a kill on the Treant and just kind of softening him up for the time being.
I mean, Tree doesn't want to spam Living Armor on himself. He wants to use that in the other lanes as well. So he doesn't want to be burning all of that regen on him. Meanwhile, though, Demon, and this is the other big deal, of course, with the 2 melee, they can't just walk in and just kill the healing ward. It's much, much harder for them to. So Demon can quite happily get all that extra health back. You see, he's going to come in and trades the healing ward.
Oh,
spins in. Oh, yo, pathing, my god. Just going to know, maybe just going to get away. And Demon may have actually overcommitted here, taking a lot of open wounds, going to slow him down. The fact it's coming after. No, he's got the boots of speed. Tron does not. Tron cannot run him down. He's got the money for it, decides not to go for it. Demon now going to pop the healing pot, and he might actually turn around for a second go. He's going to have spin-off cooldown in 5 seconds.
I think he just got vision of Shadow Demon, though. He walked past this little observer ward, which provides almost no vision at all, but it provided enough that he knew where the Eridar is. That was a nice little leech seed from Yol. Kept him up just because it's, I guess it's equal cast animation, but it does provide a nice little bit of healing from the just being in proximity to that dying creep. So it gave them the opportunity to turn it around, but as we were saying before, boots of speed a little bit too strong, and it means that Lifestealer won't be able to actually get any kill potential on him. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Jo is going to be disrupted up. Unfortunately, it means the Shadow Strike won't connect. Misplay between the two stand-ins here, obviously showing they're not coordinating as well as they should be. Instead, we're going to see up on top, the Concoction will come out on Fear, negating any potential for the kill, but still putting a lot of damage on this tower very, very quickly.
Yep, and here come the Searing Arrows. There's going to be a ton of damage on this tower. The fact that they're pushing him back, although I think this is just fine. Although that said, it looks like BZZ has opted. He's decided, you know what, I've got room here to get a level in Greed. Has picked one up. Also got one in Spray and Concoction as well. The tower now, down past half health. We're going to need some Living Armor up here for some first aid on that tower.
Yeah, but he's only got rank 2 Living Armor. He's going to spam it out as soon as he can, but he's actually just putting it on the hero. BZZ wants to go a bit more aggressive to try to contest this pull, but either way, they're just not in a great position here on the lane, these two. And along with that, I guess getting Shadow Poison for Vision in case the Illuminate was coming, but now it is coming, and they don't really have any tools to deal with it without any mana. Luckily, no Telekinesis, and he's not going to be in a dangerous position, but it's just an awkward spot to be in for them for right now. The Alchemist would love to be getting greedier and greedier, but right now it's only Grievel's Greed at rank 1 with 19 CS. BZZ, he feels okay, but this Clinks feels so much better.
Oh yeah, and Clinks, if you can get that fast Orchid, it's going to be such a huge problem. Because all these heroes, you have to worry about getting picked off by strafing Clinks with Searing Arrows. See, Juggernaut picks off the Lifestealer. He does have Omni Slash right now, and in fact, he actually opted for 1 level in stats, I think. So just so he could manage that, and also the Magic Wand as well. So he picks up the kill there, nicely played by Demon. And I think the Juggernaut was probably, rather the Lifestealer was probably, but you know what, he probably can't do that combination because he's got the Healing Ward, which means he's probably gone for 2 in Healing Ward, so he doesn't have the mana for it.
Yeah. But that's a big underestimation, and he was baited away from his creeps as soon as that happened. It got turned around on him. He was actually like only 1 right click away from finishing off the Juggernaut himself. Maybe 2 right clicks. It's really hard to say with the going for treads instead of phase. But either way, the Juggernaut was able to turn around very, very nicely, and that's huge amount of golden experience for Demon. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was, I mean, comparatively speaking, above everybody but Nakes, and that is actually the case here. 261 GPM. He's higher than everybody but the Lifestealer, who only has 275 himself. So, just in a great position.
And you see Dragonite, though Jo is doing quite well himself in the mid lane. He's leading the CS board along with Clinks, 32 kills each. And right now, Queen of Pain, she's 27-9. She's doing okay herself, but that said, Queen of Pain, it's probably about the time she's getting level 7. It's once she gets a rune. I mean, right now, they've done a fairly good job, the Dire team, of keeping their hands on the runes. Of course, Dragonite just grabbing himself haste, but she wants to get active fairly soon, I'd say, and start putting some pressure on this map because they need to slow down EG. They can't allow EG to start sort of coasting even at the rate that they're going. If they let that happen, they're going to be in a really bad position because Alchemist isn't going to be ready for a little while. He hasn't had the greatest farm over here, only 1 level in Greed, so he hasn't caught up that much. And of course, Tree is a bit of a dead weight for a while.
Big pick-off with the Observer Ward, getting vision down into the river. They were actually able to telekinesis Shadow Demon, who's just playing around with poison, trying to snipe up some creeps, and they just brought him right back up into 3 heroes and got a really, really free pickup.
Bambo does not approve of your shenanigans. But it looks like they are going to put pressure on this mid tower now. This tower's probably going to fall, actually, if another wave of creep rocks up in a second. No TP's coming in to help save it, so with the ward down, I mean, they can afford to tank it, especially since Tree is still only level 4. He really can't help out much at all. Dragonite going to take the last hit there, but yeah, if they let it keep going at this rate, we're going to find EG in a massive position to push, and there won't be a whole lot that RoX.KIS can do about it.
Yeah, Alchemist needs to start maxing Acid Spray immediately. Actually going to pop off his concoction here. Going to get Invis down. He's going to stun himself, so really accomplishing very little. They're just trying to coordinate with this Queen of Pain, who is only at level 7, but wanted to try to get some gank potential off. End result, though, is none of that, and Clinks just goes ahead and eats up a creep to enhance his HP pool. Double damage. Oh, denied out by Queen of Pain, but there's the Omni Slash. Isn't enough with the spin. No blink available, but she does get Living Armor and is able to walk just barely out of range. Now in pursuit. Has the slow available, but not going to go in too deep, as surely EG is looking to retaliate. Speaking of, Jo is up on the high ground and walking right on into the Queen of Pain, but doesn't Dragon Tail actually denotes that. I'm not sure. I kind of feel with the Dragon Tail and Flame Breath, you would have brought her down to very, very low HP, but maybe not gotten the kill.
And maybe, I think the other thing is he just couldn't see where the enemy heroes were. They did actually, Clink, though, did actually rack up a kill on BZZ, bringing down the Alchemist there, who's still trying to get to level 6. It's a pretty big deal. Clinks, of course, he hit level 6 ahead of the Alchemist, which means he had access to Death Pact. And he's, in fact, wow, you're looking at like a 10, 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Orchid in a minute.
It's just insane.
That's going to be painful.
They're actually abandoning the top lane. BZ started making his way up there, so were the supports, but they just said, screw it. This guy, we don't have any way to bring him down. They have one set of detection with the Dust of Appearance, and really, even then, their lockdown is just minimal. They have a rank 2 Open Wounds. They have a rank 1 Shadow Strike, a Leech Seed. All these are soft disables. They're very, very weak slows. And actually, Alchemist won't even get the concoction. Is going to have to be disrupted just so he doesn't stun himself. Like, they just don't have any lockdown. When they get ultimates up, sure, they'll be in a better spot with Overgrowth and Demonic Purge. But for right now, they don't have any way of just preventing people from outmaneuvering them.
And we see, meanwhile, the supports on the Dire side are farming a lot. But, like, you look at the supports on the Dire side, you've got 23 and 0 there for BDiz. So he's working his way towards a mech more than likely. Meanwhile, only 17 and 1 for Demon, but of course he has picked up a kill there, and they're getting, the other thing is, of course, they're getting towers. It's okay for him to fall behind a little bit in CS, because they're picking up early towers, which is going to give him the cash he needs. He's on 1700 gold at the moment. He can go and buy an item, and he's already without, like you mentioned, they lack lockdown, even with Overgrowth. He doesn't really care, because he can spin, he can Omni Slash, he can do stuff. And unless the concoction hits him, he's just going to get the damage out before he goes down, and of course throw it on his ward. And the thing is, he's sort of the second, if there's any carry here, the main carry is going to be Clinks or Dragon Knight. They're going to be the main farmers here, and a huge credible threat. On the other hand, Juggernaut's going to be sort of like a glass can. He's going to jump in, do a ton of damage, and if you try and focus him down, well, you're hitting the wrong target.
Yeah. It's really, really difficult. And then along with that, I mean, now Clinks has gotten the fastest Orchid I've seen in a long, long time. That's a 10-minute Orchid. He's going to bring it to himself at the 11-minute mark, but he's had this thing since 10 minutes in. And rushing a BOTs on a Juggernaut, not a mid-Juggernaut, just a starting off carry, but then transitioning into solo bot lane Juggernaut, finds his BOTs. I was wondering what I was saving for, if he was going to go for like Phase Ags or something like that, but gonna save the bamboozling for a little bit later when he gets I'm not sure if you actually, I was casting with somebody else, but the EG did a really cool play with Juggernaut and Keeper Light where you can actually recall right before they Omni Slash, and then by the time the Omni Slash ends, if they have Ags and are level 16, you can actually they immediately disappear right when the Omni Slash ends, and it's a pretty neat little thing.
But yeah, I saw the clip. It was actually pretty neat. BDiz was playing the Keeper of the Light. I want to say I'm not a huge fan, like the Bootstrap, I'm not a huge fan, but this gives them huge split push potential, and unlike usual, Juggernaut doesn't have mana issues here, because they've got Keeper of the Light, so they can afford to play with these boots like this, and between Boots of Travel and Recall now, they can push a lot of lanes, defend a lot of lanes at the same time, so that's going to be sort of an interesting dynamic for them. Should also mention that Dragonite is like 350 gold away from the Shadow Blade, as Yol is going to zone him away there from that Illusion Rune. Jo now just getting harassed back, not in any danger of dying though. He's going to be just fine. In fact, he might try and bait here because he's got Rubik as well as Juggernaut moving in here. And they're going to go after the Queen of Pain. They figure out those are illusions. Don't go for them. Throw in a counter ward as well, just to scout things out.
But So as far as starting off that bloodbath, though, they've already gotten a kill done on BZZ yet again. They were able to use the Orchid and Illuminate and just obliterate him in a matter of seconds. That's now a 0-2-0 Alchemist. We do see actually a lift on up. They're going to be able to steal out, unfortunately, a Shadow Strike instead of a Blink. He'd be in a much better situation with the Blink, but instead he does get nuked on down. So that is the first kill on the board for RoX.KIS, but they've just lost so much already, and now Fear, I don't think they caught a vision of him with that Sentry Ward. He has just used his Death Pact. He is sitting at, oh my goodness, 178 damage, and is going to be able to find out a target right here. Not necessarily
like,
the Lifestealer,
Tron?
but...
Why not? He could silence him. He won't be able to infest. He won't be able to rage.
I'm sure, but does he have that much damage? We're about to find out. Just going on in, doing so much right clicks.
He has that much damage.
Living armor is going to be enough. Just barely rages. There's the Omni Slash, though, and it does take on him once. They do bring him down, and they can walk away from this. The concoction is going to be frustrating with this Demonic Purge. Demon should fall, but just a couple of auto attack volleys coming on out from the Clinks yet again. He does get overgrowth up. The tree just hit level 6 from that Juggernaut kill and was able to use it immediately to bring down the Clinks as well. So actually a really good turnaround for them.
Yeah, really good turnaround. But I mean, Clinks has that much damage at 13 minutes in that he can just solo Lifestealer. And the only thing that kept Lifestealer alive was the fact he got living armor during that fight. This is the only thing that kept him even remotely alive, and yet... that is how hard Clinks is already hitting. That is definitely quite scary, and he's picking up power treads now as well. I mean, he had so much gold, they've got such a lead, they can afford to make a cock up like that this early, and it's not going to be a huge issue for them at all. Now we see Invis picked up by BZZ, might try and pick off Bambo. Bambo, though, should be okay as long as he stays behind the tower. Although, actually, if he charges up here, that was a smart move there. Nicely done. A quick stun. Just all they need to get the damage in there before anybody gets lifted up. And they will pick up a nice, easy little kill. But the push in on mid. So it looks like a bit of a counter push on the tier 1 mid Blaze.
Yeah, they're going to try to do what they can. Right now, we're going to see the movement of the Dragon Knight to start things off. And, of course, the Keeper Light should be following suit shortly after. Actually, I'm not exactly sure why B-Diz is playing the farming world down on bottom. I guess they have a lot of control of the jungle, but... and along with that, they're not really pressured on the other lanes.
They were there with Clinks. They were pushing the tower. They got it just then.
Oh, he actually was very, very close to an item. That probably makes a lot more sense. He was able to pick up a 4-staff here, but Fear is not in a great spot. Is able to pick up the Shadow Demon immediately. Jo comes in with a stun, and they bring down the Queen of Pain, and Yol has no chance of getting out of here either. He can run for the hills, but doesn't have the Nature's Gods available, and he is going to be dropped. So that is just kind of an insane kill advantage coming out for Evil Geniuses, and it's only going to get worse. They have the Lothars on Dragonite, they have the 4-staff on Keeper Light. They just have so many different ways to stay on top of RoX.KIS, and on top of that, Alchemist goes for a Midas.
That, I think, was a poor choice. They don't have the rune to be greedy here. They really don't. You're up against all these early game heroes who can cause a ton of damage, pushing towers, forcing them towers. You need survivability, you need the ability to fight. I mean, even rushing, right now, Lothars would be make so much more sense. We see the Omni Slash coming in, nice defense interruption, cancel that though. He will still go down though, but a good attempt regardless. The stun comes in there, they're going to pick up a Yol most likely, just goes down, picked off there by the auto attack from Dragonite. It's another stun, well, they will pick off the ward at the very least. Blinding Light gets tossed down, but there we go. Tron is dead as well, and now BCZ is perfect, gets silenced up by the Orchid. Will they get a shot in here? Comes through, not enough damage, but look at Fear charging forwards. However, Magic Wand might be enough. There we go. Charges a bridge too far though, goes in way too deep, looking for a kill, and now the pole comes straight back in. It's Shadow Demon though, he's not going to fight Dragonite.
Nope, they're going to go ahead and get a disruption off on him. To actually purge him on as well. He does pop out the Shadow Blade. They go for dust. They're countering it tit for tat, and they're going to get the Unstable Concoction off, so this should be a kill, surprisingly. Jo should be locked down here despite having 4 points of Dragon Armor. He's just not that tanky. Or Dragon's Blood for that matter. But goes ahead and buys back. Why not? He has tons of cast available. But one really, really big thing, I was kind of distracted between Fear and Demon. Both of them having crazy things going on at once. But of course, Fear diving towards the fountain. Demon gets screamed up, gets right-click down, and walks away with, I gotta say, 20 HP underneath the tier 3 tower. But luckily there were just a couple creeps allowing him to walk away safely. So very, very close. Just gets out by the sliver. But they do actually clean up the Dragonite and force a buyback from him. So it's something, but they need a lot more than just something. They're very, very far behind right now, and Clinks is just waiting for them to get into a comfortable rhythm where they can branch out a little bit into the jungle where he can just gank them up anyways.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Clinks can basically farm. This bottom lane is just farming material for Clinks. Every time someone tries to farm creep, he just jumps out and farms a hero. So easy for him to pick off kills there. And even this mid lane as well, it's just complete food for Clinks. He does need to be careful, though, because right now, RoX.KIS, if the support's doing anything right, it's just toss down wards everywhere. They really need the vision. But Clinks just going to jump in now, dish out a ton of damage to his tower. They don't even need to burn the Dragon Form anymore to push his stats, just because Fear does so much damage to them, just blasting them down. Ports at the top, though. Just going to stop that push up there, make sure they farm everything possible. And if they need to, Keeper can always just actually know his ult's on cooldown for 40 seconds. In fact, he went up there as well to help him out. There you go. But right now, 3 Radiant heroes in the mid, about to get jumped by Jo and Bambo. Back there we go. BZZ is perfect. That's still a lot of damage coming out from Jo. Still, Spell still comes in. Once he picked up, he's picked up Acid Spray. The negative armor has been tossed down, but it looks like they're going to pick off the Queen of Pain.
Ghost
Scepter.
Scepter.
No, she goes invisible. Oh, no, Ghost Scepter, my bad.
Wow. Having a Ghost Scepter is actually exactly what she needed at that exact moment. We do see BZZ cleaning up the Keeper Light and heading for the hills. He has expended his unreliable gold, so although he does drop down, he doesn't lose anything for it because he did buy out his Lothars there. So, nicely done, but yeah, still. They are treading water right now. Disruption comes out. They do have a Sentry Ward up and at him right here. Really, really great, well-timed disruption. They get the Demonic Purge as well. Overgrowth, however, not going to connect. Was that range, or what the heck with that?
I think it's really, there's not that much range on Overgrowth. The Queen of Pain, though, just going to get blasted there. The range can be somewhat deceptive. I think he was just on the edge of it and missed.
Must have been.
Definitely a misplay, though.
Yeah, it looks so close, but so far away at the same time. He doesn't connect with it, and that cost Queen of Pain her life as well, because she jumped in to try to finish the job, but immediately got bursted down before she had a chance to put out anything more than the ulti. And Jo forces Lifesteal to Rage TP as well. It's just so many rough things for them. A couple things are going right. Alchemist got a triple stack of creeps with maxed out greed, so he did jump up enough to get a Shadow Blade, which, as I said, it didn't cost him any gold to die there. Along with that, the Ghost Scepter on Queen of Pain was actually really, really good to prevent what was coming just with those stuns and right clicks there. And it's also really good against Juggernaut, since Omni Slash is entirely negated by it. So I think that's a really, really smart pickup for them, and it's really good that the Alchemist is getting farm, and might actually get a solo kill on Demon here with a Nake's Bomb. Yeah, things are definitely looking up, but, you know, when you're looking in from the bottom of the barrel, you have to kind of hope for a little bit more. So we'll see. They definitely have a long way to climb, but at least it's moving in the right direction for them.
Yeah, they have got a 14,000 gold lead at the moment, so if they're gonna lose this, they really need to pull out a big EG throw. And it looks like Clinks actually Fear's gonna get picked off. He's gonna regret that. Clinks gets blasted apart. There we go, Rage buyback. He's gonna come back into the mix. Poor stuff being picked up by Rubik though. That said, there's still EG still in a really good commanding position. And if they, the only way they lose is they toss so damn hard it's not funny.
Yeah, they Nose really wanted to kill Beatus here. He actually TP'd to the tier 3 even though he was already in the mid lane. But the slow might not be enough here. Yeah, it should be. The mana leak is going to do a lot, but they have the flank coming in. Actually, BZZ didn't have vision and was not able to get the stun off. Fortunately for Nose, now that the mana leak has expired, he is able to get the blink and the scream. And Star in a bad spot, does get dropped down, but they have popped off the Dragon Knight. This is RoX.KIS time to try to just hold the line. If they can turtle it up for the duration of the Dragon Knight's ultimate, then they actually will be able to at least maintain their high ground.
Maybe, hopefully, we'll see. And Queen of Pain, oh no, holds up in a few seconds, so maybe they can. But then again, Clinks, Clinks is hitting so damn hard. If he didn't rage buyback earlier, he could have had most of his BKB by now. Once he gets, I'm going to say, once the BKB comes out, I think it's lights out. I really don't see a whole lot happening for them once that happens, but a lot of damage being done to the tier 3 tower on the top lane. That's really getting blasted down very, very quickly. And be forcing out a glyph there as well. Jo, though, is going to have the Dragon Form wear off in a few seconds. Going to try and run away. There is going to hit him. I don't think they have a gem. No, they don't. They've just got one ward on Alchemist at the moment. They toss, in fact, the Dire throw down one of their own just to make sure there's none there spotting them up. But this is the biggest issue. For RoX.KIS, EG can just sit on their doorstep all day. They've got the wards, they've got the mana, they just don't have to go. They've got all the sustain that they could possibly want.
Yeah, so in this position here, RoX.KIS trying to make it work for them. The benefit of Acid Spray and Grievel's Greed kind of showing its worth here as they kind of turtle it up and get him a heck of a lot more farm, but still not finding exactly what they need. Actually, Fear goes ahead and leaves the tower at 20 HP. They're debating between denying it and healing it up with that living armor, but for right now, they're just not in a great position. the damage from all sides as they we see a mid lane being farmed, bot lane being farmed, and top lane being pushed in by the Clinks. Just not a great position for them to be in. Along with that, Dragonite is about to pick up, I believe, a heart. Could go for Satanic technically, but generally waits until very late in the game to pick that item up specifically. Either way, right now, EG, they want to go on in. They want to use a good ultimate, but unfortunately, Acid Spray is all that Bambo is going to be able to acquire.
I mean, I think it's going to be a hard as well. There's no real reason to get Satanic. Yeah, there we go. The recipe's been bought up. The problem with this, like, Satanic, he needs damage first if he wants to go Satanic. He needs something like a crit to really make it worthwhile.
Oh my gosh, this Juggernaut picked up a mech.
I can see that. I mean, Demon's been playing sort of a semi-support Juggernaut, and he doesn't need to worry about mana issues. Like, the biggest issue with picking up the early mech is Juggernaut doesn't have dick for mana. He has serious mana issues. He's going to pick up a lot of heroes here. The Bambo going to go down as well. They've already lost Trace. No Overgrowth in. Queen of Pain drops in the Sonic Wave. Their defense is Disruption. He's going to try... Actually, no, Offensive Disruption on Jaro. Jaro, though, comes out blasting. BZZ getting wrecked. A gem is on the ground somewhere. I'm not sure who dropped it, but there was Shadowblade out of trouble, and now the RoX still in a lot of danger. But no, I think this is fine, just because they have Keep It Alight, and the fact that normally what would happen, like, you can't get a mech on him because he doesn't have the mana for it, and by the time you have, like, say, the Arganims for the mana, and then you want to get a mech, it's so late in the game that somebody has already picked it up, or the mech just isn't worth it.
There's a part of that logic there, is if you have a Keeper of the Light, why isn't he buying the mech? But anyways, moving on in, BZZ going to be focused down hard. And there's going to be an Overgrowth that actually counters it pretty hardcore. We're going to actually see a lot of damage from Tron onto Jo here. They're going to be able to bring him down. Nose gets a double, looking for a triple, but Demon is going to be forced away and has so much survivability. B-Diz, no! Just barely surviving on maybe 50-some odd HP. Demon on the run has so much mobility, though, with drums, with Boots of Travels, but he's kind of joking around with them as he spins and TPs right in front of their face.
I mean, that's like, why not put it on Beaters? Because Beaters is easy to snipe. If, say, you get jumped by Alchemist and he ship blasts Keeper, there's your mech, it's gone. So Keeper wants to, like, hang so far back, it's not funny, because he doesn't want to go anywhere near the Alchemist or the Queen of Pain, you know, next bomb him, whereas Juggernaut can quite happily sit up the front, and if he gets in trouble, spin, TP out, or, you know, just Omni Slash his way to victory. He's always got that available to him, so I can appreciate why they did it. Obviously, not a very standard choice for him. And it also allows BDs to go, you know what, I want something like a 4-star instead, and give him some ability. I don't hate it, to be honest. I think it's fine.
Yeah, but then what does the Keeper Leg go for next? Harder to ask? Crystallis?
Oh, you pick up a pipe. Works for the team. Because it's the thing you can pop ahead of time and then have your team walk in. You can pick up the pipe, or, you know, you can just grab, I mean, if you really want to, just grab up something else like Atos. You can things you can use safely. I mean, that vitality booster, not only is it good for him, like, think of it, like, he's so squishy. That vitality boost, he's got, like, what, 750 health? 720 health? I mean, that could turn into a Rod of Atos later, if you wanted to, and it's a nice slow. It works fine.
Next bomb comes out here. Gunnery of the Burst Down J are pretty hardcore, but he does have that Reaver just adding to his durability. And with this mana leak now up on to Nose, he might not be able to get out of this one here. Doesn't even get the chance to blink away. Just too much damage coming on in. All of them focusing down very, very effectively. So now Lifestealer walking away with almost no mana. BZZ is going to have to throw out the stun very quickly, but yeah, doesn't find the opportunity. Another disruption, but now on his own doorstep is going to have to walk back onto the base to get his mana. Just dropping off an Acid Spray in the meantime. Now buyback comes in for the Queen of Pain. She does have that ultimate available. Sonic Wave is going to be the big cooldown to be used here. What kind of vector, if they demolish a creep wave, if they hit most of the heroes, and whether or not Rubik steals it, it's going to be a lot of questions about to be answered. Going to pop it off. Only hitting Jo, though. It was a key ultimate they didn't get anything out of, and he's going to try to Shadow Blade away successfully here, and it is stolen indeed. Bambo throws it the other direction. BZZ is going to get locked down here. Almost gets out because of Overgrowth, but it's just not enough. There's the Omni Slash to finish off the tree, and these racks will fall with them. Really, really good fight for EG, and that might just be the nail in the coffin.
I think it's been a nail in the coffin for a while, short of an EG throw. I mean, for all our theory crafting on items, we've got to keep in mind, it's 15,000 gold lead. You've got to really try hard to fuck that up.
Yeah.
So hard.
If you couldn't tell, I wasn't even like serious about like half that stuff there, but you know, Juggernaut mechanism, new meta, so that's obviously what caused them the victory.
There we go. Why not? Everybody dive to the fountain. Go for a GG has been called, and that will be RoX.KIS out of the tournament. Well, no, they'll be back next week. But
they will
still.
be. But yeah, having picked up no points until this matchup, and then not getting the third place. Yeah, we were already talking about the math on it.
Third place is screwed.
Yeah. So there's that. Urn of Shadow. Alright, no. There's no point in commentating at this stage. They're just jumping around. Actually gonna No, they have disconnected on out, so I don't have to go through the console for the referee command. But yeah, certainly an interesting match. Certainly a cool little game. But that's it. Well played to EG. They are going to be taking third place there. And yeah, racking up some very, very important points. It almost guarantees them a slot in the Premier Cup, but it's not 100%. It's like 99%. But I'm just going to say, based on this victory here, they're pretty much guaranteed to be seen in the Premier Cup in our playoffs coming up in just a couple weeks. So really, really nicely done by EG. Well played to them. And we are going to be going on into our final match of the day, a best-of-3 series. And that is going to be an interesting one in of itself. What do you think about the next matchup?
Oh, I cannot wait. Of course, Fnatic, my favorite team. We'll see if they can hold it together or not throw. And this is a big game for both Virtus.pro and Fnatic. Fnatic really need to nail this one in to have a good, to comfortably have a shot at 4th place, because Fnatic and Virtus.pro, only 20 points separate them in 4th spot, the final spot for the playoffs, so they really need to win this one. At the same time, though, Virtus.pro, obviously, they want to keep their lead as high as possible. If they can get 1st place tonight, that'll make it a lot harder. I mean, a lot harder for Fnatic to beat. Fnatic will pretty much have to win the final cup, the Aegis Cup, before the playoffs, and with Alliance most likely back next week, that will definitely be a tough call indeed. Like, 2nd place, I don't think will work out for them if that happens.
Alrighty then, well, like I said, going on into the next one in just a few minutes here. Unfortunately, RoX.KIS are not able to take this game away for themselves, but they still got some points out of it, and are at least not going to end the tournament, the full 7-cup event, with 0 points at all. So they got something on the board, but still not going to be enough to cut it for them. EG walk away with the bigger sum of points, and now we're going to be going on into that final best-of-3. Fnatic versus Virtus.pro in just a couple minutes. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. If you guys want to check us out, the Primal League is the Twitter for the Premier League. That's where they post up all the events and all the different infos on the tournaments as well. You can check us out individually as casters and support us there. I myself am at twitter.com/blazecasting, and over at twitter.com/triumphofman is where you'll find Triumph's feed as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning on in. Going on to the next game in